Good morning. Hello. It is Wednesday, October 27th, and it's right a little bit before noon. And I'm just going to do this short video here. Well, I'm saying short video, but who knows? I'm not even going to guarantee this is going to be a short video because I have a lot of things I want to share today. I'm going to give you guys an update on how the low carb journey is going, especially after this past weekend when we had my husband's birthday weekend. So I'm going to share some of that stuff with you guys, and I'm going to share some really exciting news that's just happened to me here recently, and just a few things. I just want to share a few things. Okay, so let's get right into it. So last weekend was my husband's birthday weekend. The reason I call it his birthday weekend, my husband's birthday weekend always kicks off the holidays for us, like decorating. The house is all decorated for fall and or Halloween and Thanksgiving and stuff right now, and then we'll shift to Christmas. And his birthday weekend, his birthday is the 21st, and we always celebrate the weekend after because it's more convenient for the family, the kids, and everybody to come over and for us to have the family dinner and all that kind of stuff. Well, there was things like, there was a vegan cake. I made a homemade vegan cake, but it had real sugar because that was his that's what he wanted, okay? So there was that. There was vegan ice cream that had sugar because all of the kids were going to be here and the grandkids, and there was that. There was 3 loaves of store-bought French bread that the kids brought because they like French bread. We usually have that with our dinners. Now, I did make a low-carb meatloaf. I made a low-carb green bean dish, broccoli salad. I tried to keep everything healthy, low-carb, but the bread was crazy. And I'm telling you, they ate the 3 loaves of bread even before we had served the meal. They were like eating it like with crudettes and stuff, right? And I was just like, whoa, what the hell? Anyway, this is a high carb bunch of eaters. So the only thing I did really well. The only thing I had for the whole thing is I took 2 bites of the cake just to try it, to see how it had turned out. And I think I took 1 bite of the ice cream because it was a brand new vegan ice cream, and I just tried it. And let me tell you that I had pain in my joints that was so bad for 2 days after that I was just like, oh my God, I know that sugar for me is the devil. Sugar, if I want to derail myself, have me some sugar, because not only does sugar hurt me, cause me physical pain, it makes my mind want carbs, it makes me want sweets, it sets off cravings. It sets off cravings that are like, that's all I can think about. Like I have to sit and mentally battle with myself for hours at a time because of this, right? And thank God this is Wednesday, it's all out of my system, I'm fine. But boy, for that first couple of days afterwards, I was like, why do I do this to myself, right? But anyway, we made it through that weekend. We got our holidays started. My weight, I was very pleasantly surprised. I jumped on the scales this morning. And let me tell you guys something about weight. Okay, so I usually weigh every single day, and I track all my weight. I track my blood glucose. I track my ketones. I track down what I don't like fill out a perfect log on what I'm eating, but I kind of generally, because a lot of my meals are the same these days, but I keep track of things, right? And whenever I take some time off and don't track for some reason, whatever, I get lazy, I'm busy, I'm gone, whatever the reason is, I usually have a gain. Every single time. I don't know what it is about not seeing that number that makes it go up, but it happens to me every time. Well, I hadn't tracked for most of this last week because we were busy, we were running around, we weren't home, and I had weighed the day of the day of the birthday party, which was Saturday, and I was up several pounds. So I was like, oh, holy crap, this is not good. Sunday, I weighed again, and I was up a couple more pounds, which I assumed was because I had eaten those couple bites of things and had grabbed the water. You know how our body, when we have carbs, a bunch of water attaches too. And I was like, holy crap, this is not a good thing, right? Well, we've been fasting on Mondays and Tuesdays just because that's what works for us, and we feel better when we fast. I mean, it's doing amazing things for our skin. Oh my God, I got to share this with you guys real fast, so don't let me forget where I'm at. I used to have a really bad, I don't know if you can see those, I used to have really bad age spots happening on my hands. I've got like 1 right here, and maybe 1 right here. I'm just like, my age spots are disappeared. I think that's from the fasting. I really believe that it's from the fasting. Anyway, back to where I was. Fasted for a couple of days, jumped on the scale this morning, and I've lost 10 pounds. I was like, wait, what? And I jumped off the scales and jumped back on and said I lost more than 10 pounds. So I was like, wait, my scales are broke. Changed the battery in my scales because I thought, these batteries are old, they probably need to change, right? Changed the battery in the scales. I lost 10 pounds in the last couple of days. So I'm thinking that what happened when I was having all the inflammation and I was hurting, and then I do know that my stroke foot, because I had a stroke a little over a year ago, I do know that that foot was a little swollen the last couple of days. I think I had so much water weight that I just flushed it all out because I was flushing a lot of water, especially on Monday. Oh my God, I was like, what is going on? So anyway, I think that's what happened, but I am now officially down to a lower weight, and I'm quite excited about it. The reason I haven't been sharing my actual number lately is because I'm going to do a special on here where I show some scale shots of different numbers. It's going to be really fun. So that's what I'm saving that for. But I am doing really good. Everything's working out really well for my husband and myself. Matter of fact, this morning he was getting ready for work and he was late by the time he realized. He goes, something's wrong with these pants. He said, they keep falling down. And he had forgot that he'd already went down a couple sizes and he grabbed the wrong pair. So I got to get rid of those for him when he gets home and takes them off because, yeah, he's shrinking along with everybody else. So, okay, so I shared all that with you. The low carb thing is going great. I mean, this lifestyle, and it does have to be a lifestyle, you guys. I do women's talks all the time, and one of the things I always tell people is if you're doing a diet in the mindset mentality for diet is this is going to end someday. So no matter how bad it hurts right now, it's going to be over soon. When something ends, that means you go back to whatever you were doing, right? That's why diets don't work, because we always go back to the old way of life. With this, you have to change your way of life, and I think that for months I fought that idea. Before I even actually started the low carb or anything, I fought the idea of needing to change my lifestyle. I wanted to have cake if I wanted it. I wanted cupcakes. I wanted cheesecake if I felt like it. I wanted sugar. I wanted sugar when and how I felt. I wanted coffee every morning with sweetener and creams in it. I wanted to go get fancy coffees from the coffee shops. I wanted pumpkin spice loaf with my coffee. I wanted these things. I wanted that kind of lifestyle. The bottom line is, I've always known in my head that specific lifestyle is not a good thing. It's not a healthy thing, but that's still what I wanted. So I really had to do a lot of fighting and mental arguing to come to the grips with the fact that you have to change it. It has to be a lifestyle thing, because I've spent 60 frickin' years doing this, and it's time for a change, right? So when I first went into it, the first couple months, everybody knows it was November and December of last year. I picked the holiday months. Now, who does that? I picked the month of Thanksgiving, the month of Christmas. And the month of Christmas, everybody knows that's candies and cookies the whole month, right? That's the months I chose to decide that I was going to go low carb vegan and start getting my weight off. And I will tell you that the first month I lost weight pretty dang good, pretty dang fast, because I had cut out all the sugar, period, all the carbs, period, all the processed foods, period, and my body went, and 20 pounds just fell off. And here's the funny thing: when you're really heavy, nobody notices 20, nobody notices 30. They might notice 40, it looked like you lost 10, but when you hit the 50-pound mark, everybody seems to notice. Everybody goes, "Oh, hey, you've lost weight." It took 50 pounds for that, but I got it, So I lost the first month, I lost the weight really good and stuff, but the second month I started struggling. I'd gain a few pounds, I'd lose a few pounds. I'd gain a few pounds, I'd lose a few pounds. My intermittent fasting was fine. I don't have a problem with fasting. I've been fasting for years. My husband's been fasting for years. But fasting, I'm going to tell you right now that fasting is not a diet, and it's not a weight loss method unless it's used appropriately with weight loss methods in an eating plan. Okay? Fasting in and of itself is not a weight loss plan or method. So the fasting for me was not a big deal. What was a big deal for me was my portion sizes. Oh my God, my portion sizes were out of the control. I followed a YouTuber once who ate 2 to 3 pounds of low-calorie foods at a time, and she ate 3 meals a day. So she was eating anywhere from, I remember calculating her stuff a few times, she was eating anywhere from 5 to 9 pounds of vegetables. She's vegan, vegetables and stuff a day. I can't eat like that. I can eat 9 pounds of celery a day, which is 100 calories or something like that, and I will gain weight. I will gain weight from the sheer mass of food in my gut. It's like my gut goes, oh, this is way too much. Let's just store it all. It doesn't matter if it's calories. It just stores it as fat. It's like, oh. That was something I had to learn about myself. I definitely had to learn that about myself, because it's not something I knew. I used to think I could eat all day long as I ate really low calories. No, that doesn't work for me. So I've learned a lot about myself. In month 2, I really struggled, and I learned a lot in I think month 2 I learned the most. I really do. Out of all. Looking at all my notes, tracking everything, I think month 2 was my biggest learning thing. Okay, now that doesn't mean that I haven't learned some other things, because let me give you an example of something I learned. my weight, once I got the first 50 pounds off, each month, so I'm going to go May, June, July, August, maybe not that many, so June, July, August, and September for sure, those 4. My weight started fluctuating in and out of a set of numbers. Like when I got to the 180s, I went in and out of the 180s, in and out of the 180s. I'd get down to the 170s, back to the 180s. And I have lowered my set point all along this way. And how I know that I've lowered my set point is because of what I just told you. Whatever, like if I started, let's say that I started, I don't have my documents here, but let's say I started a month at 181 and I ended the month at 180. I had a 1 pound weight loss, but yet during the month, if you looked at all my tracking, it would show that I was down to 177, 176, 181, 174, 181. You see what I'm saying? But I still considered it a win because I was still in the 180s. See? And I still considered that a win because the old me would have already been back in the 190s, closer to 200 again. So then when I got in the 170s, I noticed the same thing happen. I was like, this is interesting. I didn't fight it. I didn't freak out about it. None of that. I would just write my statistics down every day. Like let's say there would be a whole week of me going down. And then let's say the week was started at 177 and ended at 171. So a 4 pound week. It was a great week. But then all of a sudden, starting the next week, I was back to 177. I'd be like, how does that happen? How does that happen? But at the end of that month, instead of being 170, or let's say it started at 177, I'd be 175. 2 pound loss. Whoopee. Then but technically it's a 10 pound loss. Okay, I'll explain that in a minute. So then in the next month, I got in the 160s. I'm bouncing up and down. I'm bouncing up to the 170s. I'm bouncing to the 160s. I'm bounce all over the place. And then all of a sudden the month ends, and so I had ended it at 174 or whatever, or started it at 174, and I ended it at 169 finally. It's like, woohoo, I'm in the 160s. Then I ended the month, and I stayed there, right? So it's been a learning process through that too, but here's how I know that I've actually lowered my set points. When I give myself permission to not worry about my food timing as well, not worry about the intermittent fasting being as tight as it usually is, not sticking to my water only when fasting, things like that, and I put on a few pounds, and it does happen, I never go past whatever my last bounce around place was. I don't go past it. Like the old me would bounce right all the way back up to 245. That's just how I did it, right? Now I don't never bounce past whatever my highest, most recent set point was. So if it was 177, that's the highest I bounced to. If it was 169, that's the highest I bounced to. If it was 164, that's the highest I'll bounce to. Whatever my last highest set point was is all I bounce to. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that, exciting? I love it. So, okay, so after sharing that, that's one of the things that I've learned in the last month and stuff. I've decided recently, thanks to a lady at one of the, I give women's talks. Not very many people know this, but I give, and I do it because I went through a lot of stuff in my life, a lot of stuff that some stuff people know, some stuff people don't know, but I've been through a lot of things that bring most people to their knees, create alcoholics and drug addicts. And I have been told by people that I have every right to be a drug addict and alcoholic after all the stuff I've been through. It's like, I didn't know that was one of our rights, but okay, thank you. What I think that I had was choices to make. And that's what my talks are usually about personal choices and how our individual choices are what set us up in life, for good or bad. The choices that were made for me as a child, because that's when most of my damage happened, were negative enough and bad enough that they could have probably set me on a whole different trajectory for life. But for some reason, once I had the freedom to make my own decisions and to be my own person and to decide what kind of life I was going to live, what kind of character I was going to have, I made better choices. I made good choices. I made good choices for myself. And those are the kind of things I usually share at my women's meetings, right? Well, let me tell you what happens. When you've been going to the same women's groups for a long time and sharing different conversations and stuff, and all of a sudden you lose a big chunk of weight, that's all anybody wants to hear about. That's it. That's all they want to talk about. So I recently had a women's meeting where I talked about low carb vegan weight loss. And I got to explain something to you, because everybody automatically assumes when I say that I'm low carb vegan that I'm doing a keto vegan. Well, I'm not, because here's my theory on the whole keto thing. And here's what I believe about the keto thing. When I put my macros into like Carb Manager or anything like that, my macros are never anywhere near keto. Keto is 60% or more fat in a diet. My fats, my grams of fats, I'm never over 30%. I don't go that high in grams or in percentages for fat. I just don't. I don't eat fats like that. My carbs are anywhere from really low, like 11 or 12, up to almost 30. My protein is 50 to 70 grams a day, just depending on how it works out that day. I don't worry a lot about calories, and we've had this conversation so many times. I hate to even have this conversation again. You know how I feel about the calories, and if you don't, go look up some of my old videos, because that will explain how I feel about the calories. You guys need to stop stressing about the calories. Here's how you judge whether you're getting enough to eat. Do you have energy? Are you sleeping well? Does your energy carry you through the day? Are you able to do the things you want to do? I've recently added exercise to my routine again. I just had my blood work done, 2 months ago, and it was perfect. Perfect. My doctor said it was good enough for a 35-year-old woman in perfect health. And I've had a stroke, so hey, I'm going with that. So, So anyway, as I'm at this meeting, and we're all talking about weight loss, and we're talking about low carb, and we're talking, and the conversation keto was brought up because most people there aren't vegan at this particular meeting. But we're talking about this stuff, and this lady tells me afterwards, she comes up to me and she says, "You need to write a book. This would make a great book. Fill it in with some of your background stuff, write a book." And I said, I'm just not good at that. And I'm not good at that because I've got probably 5 or 6 different books in my office started. I have a fully done script, play script for, that's actually been registered and everything. I don't do good on finishing things usually. I'm finishing books and stuff like that. I've started so many different books. I've got so many story ideas in my head, but for some reason I can't get them down on paper the way I should. So one of the things she told me was I should set up a thing with somebody and get a contract, because then I would be on a deadline and I would be in breach of contract if I didn't finish. I said, why would I do that knowing myself as well as I do? That does not make sense to me. Not happening. So then she suggested getting a co-writer. And it was like this little bell went off. Ding. And I went, oh, that sounds doable. That sounds like a workable thing. So that's where I'm at right now, folks. I am in the middle of interviewing different, some of them are ghostwriters, some of them are just co-writers. You put your name on the book and they just co-write it with you. So that's what I'm in the middle of doing right now, and it's fascinating. I'm having a blast with it. I'm gonna post a little excerpt in it in the group later, so you guys can kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from with it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I feel really good about it, and it's gonna be good because I'm gonna have somebody else there to keep me focused, right? So I'm very excited about that. Here's the next really good news. Okay, so I've had a couple people in our group reach out to me, and a couple people from my Kitchen Magician page reach out to me about being their vegan weight loss coach. Now, here's the funny thing about that. Years and years and years ago, back in my Weight Watcher day, I mean, we're talking like the late 80s, early 90s, when Weight Watchers was a big thing, at least in my life, and I was doing bodybuilding and all kinds of things like that. I actually was a weight loss coach. I was a weight loss coach in traditional foods, not non-vegan. And I did it for years. I had personal private clients. I did it for years. I coached them with exercise. I coached them with lifting weights. I coached them with all that stuff. And I'm still in touch with many of them. I'm still in touch with a lot of my clients. A lot of them became really good friends. And as far as I know, everybody's still doing well. I mean, there's a couple that just went right back to their old ways and stuff, but pretty much everybody's still doing pretty good. So it was mind-blowing for me when I got to the point that I almost needed a weight loss coach, because I couldn't figure it out. The older I got, the harder it got to figure out. Then I went vegan, and I love being vegan. Being vegan is my greatest, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. It's something I'm proud of. It's my greatest achievement, I guess. I mean, I just feel like I really not only did something for myself, but I did something for our environment, for our world, for the animals. So I'm not in no way blaming vegan that I gained so much weight and got so heavy. But veganism in and of itself, the vegan foods are not the healthiest things. Fruits and vegetables are healthy. There's some different sources of protein that are healthy. Beans are healthy. Grains are... Okay, we're not going to go there. Okay, there are some healthy foods being vegan, but there are also a lot of if there's a box of macaroni and cheese over here, there's a vegan box of macaroni and cheese over here. If there's rice-a-roni over here, there's vegan rice-a-roni over here. Cake over here, vegan cake over here. Brownies over here, vegan brownies. You see what I'm saying? Almost anything that you could find in the real food world, I'm going to say real food because that's what everybody understands, can be found in the vegan real food world. Okay, so just going vegan does not naturally assume that you're going to be healthier or that you're going to have any kind of a weight loss or anything like that. For some people, it works that way. When I first went vegan, everybody was doing the McDougall diet, the high carb, low fat diet. And since I already don't do a lot of fat because of having a heart attack in my life and some plugged arteries and stuff, I was like, this is perfect for me because I don't do high fat anyway. Now, let me tell you that even though I did not do added fats, I was still doing high fat without knowing it because there's so much fats that are put in foods. When you buy processed foods, so much fats, sugars, salts, all that stuff, that I was doing way higher fat than I knew about in the beginning. I thought that since I didn't use oils and add fats, I was safe. No, you're not safe doing it that way. So anyway, wow, sorry, almost looked like this car almost hit a bike rider out my window. It's like, okay, everybody's all right, good. So anyway, I made a lot of changes, okay, as I was going along. I don't blame vegan for my being overweight or my getting so obese or anything like that. It was the choices I was making. I was making homemade breads and homemade high carb foods, and I was eating a shit ton of potatoes, guys. And potatoes have never been my friend. I love potatoes. I love all potatoes. There's not a potato I've ever met on this planet that I have not loved. And I love beans. Oh my God, I love beans. I grew up on beans. I love them. But beans hurt me. Beans cause me problems, all kinds of problems. And so I already knew over the last few years that I was going to have to give up those two foods, and I was having such a hard time trying to figure out how was I going to replace these foods, what was I going to replace them with, because they were a major part. Rice, potatoes, and beans were the staples of my vegan diet getting towards the end when I decided to do the whole high carb, low fat thing. And I wasn't losing weight. I was not losing weight at all. I was gaining weight. Then I had my stroke and I gained a bunch of weight because I was just in a wheelchair sitting. I knew that there had to be a lot of changes coming about from this, and I knew that for me, low carb works. And I hated even admitting it. I looked around for a few low carb people. There's a girl on Heavenly Fan on YouTube that I absolutely love. I started following a few of her things, or I started following her channel. But there wasn't really a whole lot. There was a few people that had tried vegan keto. So there were a few videos about that, but they only tried it for like a week here or 2 weeks there or whatever. There was no real low carb vegan, and I didn't want to be known as low carb keto. I just didn't want to go there, right? I don't believe in eating a crap ton of fats like that. I don't think it works for everybody. So I started my Facebook group because I was like, we need a group for this. We need a group. Now, there are a ton of vegan keto groups, but there was no just vegan low carb group. How do we do this just being low carb and not saturating ourselves in fats, right? So we got the group started, we got the group going, everything's been going amazingly well. Amazingly. There's a few of us that are already at goal weight. There's a few, I pretty much feel like I'm at goal weight now. I'm just kind of letting my body adjust to where it wants to go at this point, but I pretty much feel that I'm at goal weight because I'm so comfortable where I'm at right now. I'm comfortable with my size. I'm comfortable with what I'm able to wear. I'm comfortable with my body, how well I can get around, my exercising. So if I lose some more, I'm happy with it. If I don't, I'm still really happy with where I'm at right now. So me becoming a weight loss coach at this point in my life, I'm 60, and to tell you the truth, I never thought anybody would want to hear anything I had to say about weight loss. So the book idea was just kind of a fun idea. And the weight loss coaching was kind of like, wow, okay, this is going to be fun. And it has been fun. And I'm now widening the circle because I'm going to open up my weight loss coaching to anybody that thinks they need it or thinks they could benefit from it. Contact me personally and we can chit chat. We can go over it. And be looking for the book, because it's coming. There is a book coming on this. And in the book, I'm going to be sure that I'm not just going to share the story of how I was, fat kid, then anorexic, and then skinny, and then fat, and then skinny, and then fat. I'm not going to share just all that kind of stuff. Some of that's going to be in there because you have to know the background to be able to understand where the person comes from and to see if you have any commonalities, right? I'm going to share a lot of the science behind when I started doing the low carb and the different foods that can set you off in different ways and how to check yourself. There's different methods you can use to check what you have. Like how did I find out that potatoes were bad for me? How did I find out that beans were the bad food for me? There's different methods how you can test out the different foods to find out what I call them trigger foods, but they're not triggers as in, oh, they trigger me to do something. They're triggers as in, now my body's doing something I don't want it to. So I'm going to be sharing all that kind of stuff in the book. I'm going to be given like a 2-week diet, or not diet plan, we hate the word diet, a 2-week meal plan, some ways ways that you can actually create this new lifestyle for yourself. This is such a lifestyle for us. Every once in a while in the group, I do walkthroughs of my cupboards and walkthroughs of my refrigerator and show different foods that we're eating or that we're playing around with or making new recipes with or something, just to show you guys that it has become a lifestyle. And all of my cupboards are now vegan low carb, all of my freezer, all of my fridge, everything is vegan low carb. So it's really easy for me to make foods and to create things because I have everything right there that I need. And you do get it all as you keep going. You do get it all. It's easy for us to have family dinners. We don't struggle with it. They may bring a couple things they want like the bread, but hey, it's all good, right? So there we go. I've shared everything with you. I think we're all up to date, and I will talk to you guys all soon. Take care.